Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe. At Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there. Join the militia. Thank you to everybody for tuning in and hanging out with us. We appreciate all of you. This is your Boston College post-game show. Syracuse had an explosive 4 minutes, 53 seconds in the third quarter to finish off BC after trailing 3-0 going into the locker room at the half. You'll hear from us and we'll hear from you and fan feedback. And happy Halloween. We're here early because Joe's Halloween agenda has been laid out and this is the window and we're in it. So we're doing the show now. Obviously, we both got kids to take out trick-or-treating tonight. So instead of Joe just pulling a no-show again, we decided that we would try to fit this in early. And it's good. I kind of like a Sunday afternoon podcast, Joe. It's kind of nice. You know, we're still drinking beer, which is just, that's how we do it. You know?
Yeah, it's right in the middle of the day, though.
That's his excuse. He's trying to convince us, or he's trying to convince himself, or what he's trying to do. But
puts a halt in progress if you got stuff going on. But it is what it is.
It absolutely does. So, for the Tucker tracker, so he is only 105 yards away to break Joe Morris's single season rushing record, and he's got 3 games left. So he sits at 1,267 yards. It's about 6.3 yards per carry. And actually, he's 9th after his performance yesterday. He's in 9th place ahead of Larry Zonka for the single game all time at Syracuse with 207. So, okay. Look, that's a tough one to do. 207, that's pretty good. First time he's reached 200, and obviously 105 for the season total. I don't see that lasting. I think he smashes it. I mean, he could beat that at Louisville, possibly. So, I think, according to Mike McAllister, DraftKings released their updated Heisman odds, and for the first time, Sean Tucker's listed at 150,000? What the hell is that? 15,000. Sorry, I got another zero in there. 15,000. So if you bet 10, you win 1,500, and if you bet 100, you win 15,000. So, those are his odds. Now,
okay,
we'll see. I mean, I think the talks in itself is exciting enough. So, right?
I mean, how long has it been?
I couldn't tell you.
We've had anybody that's been in a Heisman. I mean, it's anybody worth talking about. I don't know. As far as Heisman goes,
you tell
really
me.
Say.
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. Floyd Little.
No, I think McPherson in the late 80s, I think he finished second in voting.
Yeah.
And I know that, obviously we had McNabb and Graves. I don't think
they were
ever
in contention,
put a Heisman.
Yeah.
But Heisman numbers is something serious. You got to have a pretty impressive season. And then this is looking like, the most impressive running back season that I've seen as a Syracuse fan.
Yeah.
We've had some decent ones.
We have. And, Kenneth Walker is still behind in total yards, but he's still a game behind. So after this,
he also had 5 touchdowns.
Right, he's got
yesterday,
14 total touchdowns to Sean Tucker's 11, but he's also a game behind. So to be fair, next week he will be on track with the same amount of games as Sean Tucker with 9. So. We'll keep an eye on that.
I'm pretty sure they got some big games coming up. They still got. Look to them. They'll probably, he'll probably have a big game at Purdue and against Maryland the next 2 games, but at Ohio State and home against Penn State to end the season. So 2 pretty good defenses at the end of the year. So maybe that'll be the difference.
It could be. We'll see. We will get into everything Syracuse Boston College right after we hear what Coach had to say immediately following the game.
First of all, I like to start off with a G3. I'll break that down one of these days, but it was an amazing game, and I couldn't be more proud of this football team and the way they handled the adversity of the last, I don't know, you guys tell me, 5 to 6 weeks, and just unbelievable faith without evidence that they could do these things that they're doing. We're not done. Hopefully we're not finished, but wow. I mean, for what the super seniors have done for us and where we are in the youth movement, I couldn't be more prouder or more excited about being around this football team.
What was going on with the offense in the first half? 3 false starts and really not able to move the ball.
It was very, very simple. They were making move calls, and we hadn't practiced move calls because we didn't see move calls on the tape. It was almost like, maybe they've been doing it all year, but we didn't see it. We didn't practice it, and then, right when our quarterback is about to move, you jumped. That's 5 yards. and that's all it takes. And the thing about being at home is that they can actually hear it because you don't want your fans to make noise when you got the ball. And our fans are really experienced and they do a great job. They make noise when the other people have the ball. So, they can hear it. They make the move called, and we had some veteran guys jump. Now, there's also some rules against that, but I'm not going to talk about all that because I don't want to get fined.
Coach, can you just talk about what you saw from the defensive line after giving up 36 points and a lot of rushing yards last week and coming back today with the big game?
Well, they were determined. I think it goes, I don't like to use certain words, but they had a chip on their shoulder. I mean, these weren't like freshmen and sophomores on the D-line. These are some guys that have been here a while, and they've seen this rivalry for a while, and they've had an opportunity to taste it. And you're talking about 4 seniors this is their last go-around. There's no double COVID, so this is it. And I think they just wanted to make sure that not only that they shut down the run against BC, but they came out with a win. We need to get healthy, and that's what a bye week is for. I don't know what the latest bye week is in the history of blah, 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 but, we're probably 4th or 5th from the last. We got it, and the key thing about a bye week is don't lose the bye week. And the way you don't lose the bye week is you get into the next game with people more healthier than they've ever been. And that's my job, to make sure that these guys come back healthier than they've been. Now, we're not going to get everybody back. And no, I'm not going to tell you who we're not going to get back. But we will get back, and we'll be healthier, and we'll be better for it. The offensive coaches made the most of those adjustments at halftime. I talked to the coaches will talk to the players. But we had guys playing different positions, and then they were doing some things they had not done before. So we're making sideline adjustments instead of stuff that was done in practice. Now, normally that's easy. You can go this or go that, and the guy, okay, I got it. But when you got a guy playing a different position than he's ever played, it normally takes a while, or they have to see it once or twice, muscle memory, before they can make the adjustment, so to speak. But you talk about halftime adjustments, okay? From the first and second quarter to the third quarter, there were some guys, there were some players, and there were some coaches making some adjustments, and I'm doggone glad they did.
Hey, Garrett back here. Looked like on the touchdown that you were able to celebrate with the O-line there. Looked like you guys had that one locked in the chamber on what you would do. Did it feel good to actually get it done?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just glad we got in the end zone, and I'll say we've practiced that one before.
All right, the coach montage is brought to us by the Spotify Green Room. Go to your iOS or Android stores, download the app. All you need is a username, an email address, and a password, and you can get signed up. You can follow us at Cuse Militia there. And you can sign up for notifications. When we go live, you'll know about it. You can get in the green room there, and you can either eavesdrop on us, or you can request to speak. When you do so, if I approve it, unmute yourself with that little red microphone on your icon and say your piece. You don't have to just follow us. You can do whatever you would like on there. You can follow any range of topics. And you can even start your own thing if you go live in the green room. When you got people listening to you, you can record that. They'll email it to you, and you can upload it, and you can do your own little podcast off of that with like zero cost. This thing doesn't cost anything. It's free. Go to your iOS or Android stores today, download that thing, and get signed up. Symbol.com is the stock market for sports that allows you to profit off your sports knowledge. On Symbol, you can trade sports teams like stocks, and every time your team wins, you earn cash. Use your sports knowledge on Symbol to buy low, sell high, earn cash payouts when your team wins. Join the 7,000 plus early adopters who have started to invest in their favorite teams. Visit www.simbull.com to create a free account, and when you make a deposit, make sure you use the promo code SD to make your deposit risk-free. Visit Symbol.com and use the promo code SD, and your deposit will be risk-free. This means even if you lose money, Symbol will refund your initial deposit, no questions asked. Join Symbol and start investing and profiting off your teams today. Symbol.com. All right, Joe. So obviously we'll start right off the top with this team pulling out this back-to-back wins. Obviously, with the exception of Rutgers, Syracuse has taken, I guess, the ones that they really, really could. I mean, you look at the 3 losses in a row and you're down by 3 points. They could have taken any of those, but playing the way we started playing once Garrett Schrader kind of was melded into that role, I think we take that game. But with that said, it is what it is. We're 5-4 now. But the one thing about this team, and the one thing to be proud about, is that there's no quit in this team. You know, they've just done through last year. We've mentioned it before. Through last year and through the rough stretch that they've had, they came out. They beat Virginia Tech at home. They had to do it. You know, Virginia Tech got back on track. You know, that's not easy to go into Tech and beat them at home. Like you mentioned, I don't remember what the stat was. How many times have they lost at home? What was it, 2 in a row or 3 in a row?
3.
3. So, you know, I mean, it's a feat. It really is. And they should be proud of that. And they should be proud of this win too. We'll get into the defense, but, you know, with that said, the false start calls early, those little things need to be cleaned up. And I thought there were rules against the defense getting the offense to jump.
There is.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate.
It's just, and again, it's just a situation where obviously they did it and they were doing it, and the refs just didn't catch them or couldn't hear them or whatever it may be. But yeah.
Well, either way, though, you're at home. You've got to know the cadence. You're the one that knows it, right? So you've got to settle in. You're at home. There's no reason to be jumpy like that. But that's little stuff that's got to be cleaned up. You know, it wasn't in the montage, but special teams was excellent this week. I think James Williams averaged 43 yards a punt. That's his best game he's had all year. Obviously, there was some worry about Pena being out for me. I thought it was glaringly obvious in the beginning of the game there that he was missed until Courtney Jackson took it to the house. But all in all, special teams had a really good day. So flipping the field and with returns. So no,
I mean.
It was, dude, Joe, come on, throw these guys a bone. Look, it's been brutal.
So they played better.
Okay.
It's not like we did anything crazy. We didn't kick any crazy field goals. The punter did okay. He just didn't do anything bad, right?
Well, that's okay, Joe. That's a start. Yeah, he had the best day of the year of his career so far.
Doesn't make it great.
It doesn't make it great. Did I say it was great? Saying. Did I say it was great? Maybe I did.
It was less. Yeah, look, there was less mistakes. Actually, no mistakes, and they returned one. So
yeah, that's pretty good.
You gotta be happy about that. But I mean, we gotta still look at this.
Joe.
We can't look at this through. Oh no, we can't be 2 wins in a row and we didn't have a mistake. We didn't have a punt that went 10 yards, so now we had the greatest day ever. Like, it's a good start. Not making a mistake is a good start.
Well, he averaged 10 yards more a punt this game than he did last game.
Again.
Outdoors to indoors too.
Upward trajectory, right? We're
on
the rise.
That's all we want. The defense. I mean, what can you say about them for this game? They barely bent. Really, they didn't even come close to breaking and kept the orange in this thing heading into the locker room, down 3-0 after a crappy first half of offense. They allowed only a total of 251 yards from Boston College, 0 touchdowns, 5 sacks. Kingsley Jonathan comes back, and he racks up 3 of those. Garrett Williams comes back, leads the D in solo tackles with 6, and they made a huge stop on 4th and goal. I mean, when they went into the locker room, down 3 with 0 points, I'm thinking, you know what, I'll take this right now, because I feel like the Orange has responded coming out of the locker room this year. They did it against Virginia Tech. They did it against Boston College. And you can attribute all of that to the defense because that could have unraveled really bad. They had a stretch of 12 plays where they gained 12 yards. So it was pathetic. We can talk about Garrett Schrader, 5 for 14, 65 yards. Not great, but I think they threw the ball, I think I heard in the press conference, maybe one time in the second half. And they just went
one or two times.
Yeah. And so they went back to what their game plan was. They threw a little bit too much. And I don't know. I don't really know. Maybe Joe, you can tell us. But what was going on in the first half with the throwing? It just like some balls were high. I mean, it was the same typical stuff, man. But it looked like they were trying to get the pass game going because they weren't having a terrible time on the ground yet, but it hadn't been really established, right? So, but the defense, Joe. I mean, what else can you say about them?
Well, the defense played great compared to the last game, obviously. Letting Virginia Tech run like that, that's kind of what I thought that they were going to do, too. So to come in and hold, I know Garwo still had 84 yards, but to hold these guys to this, pretty good. It is attributed to a little bit of their quarterback situation because there were some open receivers that the quarterbacks just missed. I mean, Zay Flowers had 6 catches for 116 yards. He seems to be getting open pretty easily. Albeit Garrett Williams and Deuce, they made some plays themselves, but really, it just the way that we got to the quarterback, timely sacks and stuff like that. It was just a weird game the way that it ended out. And I don't know if, again, like you said, coming out of the locker room, it just seemed like we figured some stuff out. I was a little nervous when they came out and kind of grounded and pounded down our throat for the opening drive to go and get that field goal, right? It was a nice long drive. They only got 3 out of it. Only got 3 out of it. And then, like I said, we figured something out. I don't know if they lit a fire or if they made some adjustments or whatnot, but right after that long drive, I think we got the ball with like 9 and some change left in the third quarter. And would we have 4 plays, and there was a touchdown, Tucker with his 51-yard touchdown. Then off that momentum, defense got a quick 3 and out, got the ball back, then scored in 5 plays with the Schrader 40-some yard run. And then you turn around and hold them 3 and out again, and then we return the punt for a touchdown. Like, that's crazy. So, again, this is just a team that just continue to surprise me. I think that if Boston College had Jerkovic and, a quarterback that could hit some receivers, it might have been a different story. But once we got those big plays, it was like, again, we saw the momentum, we saw everything. It just looked like a beat up team, a tired team in the first half, and we were just trying to stay in there. We had that one drive which finished in that fumble, and you go into the halftime thinking, I'll take this. But we should still be winning. Another situation where we should have more points than they do on the board based upon the offense and the way that we move the ball. Just a little bit better than them. But overall, it just looked like 2 beaten, tired teams just trying to figure it out there.
I think I think a lot of the first half woes was frustration. I mean, Garrett looked visibly frustrated. And, I don't know what it was, if it was communication errors. But, he was getting a little bit more pressure on him. There were some missed assignments and things like that. And it's going to happen. You've got 2 of your offensive linemen out, and then you take and you've got Elmore out. So it was it was not ideal. That one that he lost the ball on, I mean, he was hit pretty quick, and then there was a couple where he held the ball too long. You can make an argument saying, absolutely, he should have got outside the pocket and just thrown that thing away and been done with it. Instead, his mentality is to hold that thing and then figure out, can wait till the last second to see if he can throw it, if not trying to make a movement with his feet. And a couple of times he ended up holding that thing a little bit too long in the backfield and got sacked. And, you got to clean that stuff up too. So, but
Boston College defensive line, you got to give them credit as well.
Yeah, they had a game plan and they executed it almost perfect in the first half. Right. So then they
gave a little bit more pressure than I thought they were going to give.
Yeah, and then you take I think so too. Schrader was sacked 3 times.
Yeah,
and,
they've only had 8 sacks this whole year, I think, coming into the season, I believe.
Yeah, no, 9. He had 9 coming into this game the whole year. So he's got 12 on the year now. So
no, I'm saying Boston College.
Oh,
defense.
Boston College defense. Okay, all right. Well, yeah. No, I think you're right because I think we talked about that. So
yeah, but that whole burst in the third quarter, man, was just it.
4 minutes, 53 seconds of solid football, and that was what did it.
And then after that, the momentum just carried it through. The defense wasn't going to give it. I mean, there was a couple times when I was nervous just because I don't think we've had the lead. So it's one of those things where some of these games I've gone into thinking like, oh, well, we got to make this, but we got to get down and do this drive. And then we end up getting into a position to possibly win or go into overtime. But now we actually had the lead. And now I'm thinking, I'm not used to this position or situation. Are we going to blow this?
Yeah, it just didn't feel like it once when Garrett Schrader scored. It didn't feel like. I mean that was the momentum shift was glaringly obvious, and hats off to what was it, Moorhead. I mean, he came in and stunned us a little bit, but ended up getting sacked a few times, and he was off target a lot. But 6'5", 230 pounds. That's a big kid. He had a lot of firsts, obviously, in his first start, and got introduced to the NCAA by Syracuse's defense. His
first snaps.
Kingsley Jonathan got to him 3. I think he's the only one Kingsley Jonathan sacked 3 times. So, excellent by the D, and that kid's not terrible, and you could tell.
No.
Well,
No.
And you could tell, well, we didn't even know who the hell was the backup to the backup coming into this game, right? So
no, yeah. He surprised everybody.
Yeah, I think so. And then you're thinking, oh crap. Well, this kid can throw the ball, man. I mean, he can launch it, and we could be getting burnt here. But thankfully, he was off target. Bye week coming, Joe. We complained about the bye week. We've heard Coach complain about the bye week being this late. But we talked earlier today. I mean, I agree with you. You said this is coming at the best possible time. To be able to push it out this late is not necessarily a negative. It's actually, it's going to work out pretty good for us. You got Vettorello out, Tisdale still out, Chris Elmore was in a sling, Pena, as we mentioned. I'm sure Schrader, I'm sure Tucker could probably use some recovery time as well as the rest of the team. And
most people.
I didn't hear anything about Marlowe Wax when he exited the game. There was nothing in the presser about it, so I'm hoping no news is good news on that front. But he was the only question mark besides those other ones I just mentioned. Service. He came out.
No, he didn't come out, but he's just like, you can tell he's limping in the game.
Oh,
He
yeah.
fights every week.
He does
to get playing, to get in there.
He's got the Iron Man award right now. So I mean,
there's a lot of people and players on our team that are fighting through injuries. I know Mikel Jones isn't 100%. I mean, at this point, you play 8 straight games, 9 straight games, right? You're not going to be 100. No one. If you play a certain amount of snaps, you're not 100%. So, 2 weeks. Winning those 2 games in a row, those 3 games that you lost by 3 now at this point are they're way back here. They're behind you. They're in the rear view mirror. You're not even thinking about that. You got these 2 games now. They're on a high as far as just winning these 2 games. And if you don't think that these guys obviously having an identity and knowing what they can do going into these last 3 games, and we only need 1 more for bowl eligibility. So these guys are going to come out Just super confident, super motivated in 2 weeks, and hopefully a lot healthier and just ready to get this next 3-game push in.
Halftime adjustments, obviously they worked. We talked a little bit about it. We heard Babers talk about it in the coach montage, but I still hear the fire Babers stuff is still rampant, and people were still mad despite winning this game. And it wasn't so much in our feed; it was just throughout. It wasn't on our thoughts on the game feed that I saw. There was a little bit of negativity, but not too much. But it's like you can't win by enough, and the false starts being blamed on Babers and have we not reached peak moronic stupidity? I'm just gonna say it. Have we reached peak stupidity with the Fire Babers stuff yet? I mean, are you as over this Fire Babers stuff as I am?
I haven't even been listening.
Oh, okay. See, it's so good for you, Joe, because you're not on Twitter. That's why. That's why.
Yeah,
see, that's
Twitter
good.
Isn't a real place.
Oh my gosh, Twitter is not a real place. You're right, but I do get the text messages too. So there's that. But you're right. Twitter is not a real place, and you're so lucky to not have to man the Twitter app at all. Okay, you just kind of relinquished yourself from it. But I think. By the end of this year, I'm hoping Coach can quiet that crowd and it could be a non-issue. And, if we were sitting here with a Liberty win and a couple of non-conference wins, then we'd be able to have that discussion, I think. But as of right now, I think that discussion should be shelved, to say the least. The touchdown celebration, I watched it a couple times because I kind of missed it the first time. Okay, it's cheers and popping a beer, slamming the thing, crushing it on your head and throwing it. I mean, you got to love that. Could be a
soda.
It could be a soda, but I doubt it. I thought it was great. He was asked too. Schrader was asked if they got a name for it, but he said no, right? But I mean, what's he gonna say? But I loved it. That's awesome, and we could call it the Cuse Militia Open. That's what we could call that.
That run was.
Oh, it was wild, right? And he tiptoed the line too. I mean, he was right there.
Those strides, man.
I know.
He's
seriously
so fast.
He is. He's fast. He is fast, and he made a couple moves too. There was a good block too. I'm not sure who it was. Maybe Mang. Maybe
I think it was Mang.
But there was a killer block and that opened that up. But he made some moves and he got out there and it was. I mean, frick, man! If you're not going to throw it, you can do that. I mean, that takes care of everything.
Oh yeah, not going to be able to do that against every team, but
no. But
when you can, take advantage of it.
That's right. All right, we are going to get into your feedback right after this.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, fan feedback is brought to us by Symbol. Symbol is the sports stock market that allows you to profit off your sports knowledge. There are two ways to make money on Symbol. First, every time a team you own wins, you earn cash win payout. Second, just like the stock market, if you think a team is going to increase in value, you can buy low and sell high for a profit. Use the promo code SD to make your first deposit risk-free. This means even if you lose money or just decide the market isn't right for you, Symbol will refund your initial deposit, no questions asked. What else? Spotify Green Room app. Go there, create an account. Okay, go to your iOS or Android stores. It's free. There's a lot you can do with this app. You've heard me mention it 1,000 times. It's a lot of fun. Follow us at Cuse Militia there. Sign up for notifications so you know when we go live. You will get a notification. You can sit in the green room or you can request to speak. Or you don't even have to listen to us. You can do whatever you want. You can follow. There's plenty of topics, plenty of things going on there that you can follow. And you can have fun with that. Your iOS or Android stores. Get there today. Download the app. It's free. All right, Joe, not a whole lot from Facebook. Facebook is like, okay, Facebook, whatever they do to our posts sucks. I don't think it's anything personal or anything like that, but whatever their algorithm is, we are not making any moves. there, which is...
I know. I can't wait to get rid of that.
I can't either. But, I mean, you have to get fan feedback somehow. Right? So
Right.
it's Twitter or that.
I get it.
So, Richard on Facebook, Schrader needs to get rid of the ball instead of getting sacked. Sean Tucker is the man. Give him the 44 jersey already. The kid is fun to watch. Yes, he is brilliant to watch. You know who else was 34, though? I meant to mention this last time. The one, the only, Bo Jackson. It's a great number. You know?
Thurman Thomas.
Bo Jackson. We're talking about Bo Jackson right now, bro. Okay? Don't do that. Don't do that shit. You know that's bullshit. What an asshole. All right. Schrader, yeah, we talked about it. He does need to get rid of the ball a little quicker. I think he'll learn. I think it just tries to make something happen. I think he's just trying to make something happen. Obviously, it's not to a fault. To a fault. He wants to win sometimes. So,
No.
huh?
When you run and like that, you got to take the good with the bad,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes you're gonna get out of there, and sometimes you're not.
Right.
A few plays later, he's doing that. He's running for 48 yards and a touchdown. So,
Right.
Dominic on Facebook. In today's era of high octane football, I think people forget what the ground and pound looks like. Reminds me of when, speaking of the Bills, the Giants beat the Bills in Super Bowl 25. They threw too much in the first half. Don't play to their strengths. Even if we make a bowl, Gilbert should not return for next year. That's a little harsh, don't you think, Dominic? Just a little. Yeah, they went, so they did throw a little, we talked about this a little bit. They did throw a little bit too much. It was frustrating. Obviously you want your quarterback to do better than 65 yards. I mean, it is what it is, but he makes up for it in other ways. But they've got to get a hand. It's not going to be something you can do every week and win with that little bit. Unfortunately, I think that's glaringly obvious. At K. Nabiwaniak, Schrader and Tucker, along with this incredible defense, make this a special team. They clearly don't trust Schmidt anymore, and the punting is still horrible. And they don't need Tommy or Taj. Okay, well, you deal with the team you got, right? So
pretty much.
I don't think it was a trust thing with Schmidt. I was wondering about that call though, Joe. That 4th and 6 on the 33. You remember that? And I think Schrader ended up getting sacked on that one. That was one of the ones he held the ball too long. But do you just hit the field goal there? You're in between the hash marks. It's within his range. You're in the dome. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree or dislike the call that going for it there, because I think that's 4 down territory sometimes, but and plus we weren't getting anything going at that point. But what do you think as far as just throwing Schmidt out there to kick the 3?
I don't. I mean, it was 0-0. I'm going to go with whatever the coach chooses for the amount of flack that he's gotten from the fans and going back and forth between whether or not you should do this or do that. I'm just going to be okay with what he decides to do, especially when a 0-0 game in the first half.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't either way I'd have been fine with it, but I understand if your fans are saying, we're down 3, we got a chance for 3, and the perception is well, they don't trust him because he hasn't been as good as he was. He's struggling a little bit.
Not to say that Dino was thinking about that, but I'm just not going to be that fan.
Right. If not now, when 84. Defense was good in the first and amazing in the second. Tucker did his usual plus some. After the offense woke up, I really felt good about his performance. Yes, absolutely. It was great. And I think we're still waiting on the tweet. I don't think the tweet's come out yet, but I love how everybody does wait on pins and needles for Tucker's tweet. I mean, the pressure's on. And how about the end of the game? Did you see his post game interview last night? Yesterday?
Just him?
Yeah. He was interviewed immediately after the game, man, all smiles, and you don't get to see that much from Tucker with the ear to ear smile. So it's it's good to see. And they bring him in the presser, and he's like, he reminds me of Marshawn Lynch in a presser without the the harsh rudeness. He just
And the Skittles.
yeah, he's a basic. He gives you the basic answers and stuff. He's not going to sit there and elaborate. But at Joe Catskill, excellent game. Very few killer mistakes, and once more the D played their butts off. Didn't understand how our offense can look so great, then just disappear. 2 wins in a row. Been a while since I felt this kind of joy 2 weekends back to back for Orange football. Yeah. They just were, I mean, like did you call me at the half or did you text me at the half? You texted, no, you texted me because you were behind. So when you said, Boston College came into this game with a great defensive plan, and they absolutely did. They just couldn't keep up with the ground game. I mean, it was just, once you just start running the ball down their throat, it's only a matter of time before you're getting through there. And
well, we helped them. We helped them too. I think that the way that they set it up and they did their things in the first half, I think it kind of made us, I don't want to say made it look like the passing and the stuff like that was open. I think that was partly why, they were stopping our run a little bit, and some of the things that they were showing made it look like we might be able to pass on them. So I think, again, we passed too much, and that's why we didn't, after that one drive where we went down and fumbled, we didn't really move the ball. But at the end of the day, I mean, we know what our identity is, and we should be running with Tucker and Schrader from the beginning of the game and make them stop it before we have to go ahead and throw. And obviously, I'm not talking about run every play, sprinkle some throws in there, take a shot downfield if it's 2nd and 1, that kind of stuff. But sit back and make these defenses beat your strength, because I mean, it's 7 straight 100-yard games for Tucker, and minus the Clemson game, I mean, Schrader's been pretty good too. So I don't know. There's not too many defenses with personnel that Clemson had, and as we're getting later in the season with playing against teams that are losing depth, losing players, I don't know. I don't see too many teams that are going to be able to stop us from running over 200 yards.
We'll do the Twitter polls at the end. We'll do the Twitter polls. I did a couple polls, and we'll talk about those before we leave today. But what about they throw these high percentage pass plays in to get him settled in, and I didn't see much of that. I mean, they were trying to take a shot most of the first half when they were throwing the ball. There wasn't a good screen to Tucker, or, Courtney Jackson's been getting better with the slant stuff. And, some of those high percentage things, I think, I mean, I'm not a freaking coach, but it seems to settle them. And I mean, it seems to settle any quarterback. You get going, you get into a rhythm, and, you see what you can do from there. But, they're going to have both. These last 3 games, that's going to have to improve. I mean, you can run the ball, and you're going to be successful doing it eventually, and you're probably going to rip off a couple big ones, and you're going to get some highlight plays and some points put on the board. But at the end of the day, we're coming down to Louisville, NC State, and Pitt. You're going to have to throw the ball, in my opinion. We'll just say Bill Keene on Twitter. If BC had a QB who threw accurately, they win. They had many open receivers deep and missed most of them. Interesting how SU really had no passing game, but still wins. Awful passing today by Garrett Schrader, but he's a great runner, and the double threat with Sean Tucker was the difference. I mean, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. We have no idea what Jerkovic, if he could have won this game or not, right? But obviously, the passing looks better. The passing wasn't terrible. I mean, it was 40. It was low percentage, but 180 yards, no mistakes. And again, I remember last year, even during all the COVID stuff, when we went 1-10, Syracuse was racking up the turnovers, to say the least, last year, and they did a really good job. This year's been a little bit sparse, and you got, there was a couple shots that Moorhead took. I was surprised that he hung on to the ball. I was waiting for that thing to pop out. I mean, it's obviously strong. So, yeah. I mean, the dual threat, and that's what we do now, right? Like Joe just said, to your point, that's the identity. That's it. That's what's winning games. Sean Tucker's freaking amazing. I mean, this cat is just, man, he is a blast to watch. And when he's fast too in his own right, you know.
Oh yeah.
Former track star. So, and he's so chill and humble about everything. He's just a blast to watch. I mean, gosh, man, if we could keep this guy for 2 more years beyond this year, that would be amazing. It'd be amazing. But we all know how that goes. So, at Cuse Waterboy, back-to-back ACC wins. Tucker goes for 200-plus yards and is now on track to shatter multiple SU records, and the team is 5-4 with a great shot to make a bowl game. We're building something special, and let's get the people to pack in the dome for the finale in a month versus Pitt. So, yes, senior night, they're going to do the walk around, right? You got the 6 super seniors. And, you know, we'll talk later. I'm going to get into it now. What this team, what this defense looks like after these seniors are out of here. But Syracuse fans, I texted Cuse Waterboy this morning because I don't want to get on here and say something if my perception watching TV isn't reality. So I asked, you know. Student section has showed up every game. They've been amazing, organizing and getting the kids there. They've been second to none for what we deal with. They set a student record this year, I believe, for attendance in the game. But we got to get the locals in here, man. We talked about this. They laxed the COVID policy on kids, so you can go there with your kids now and don't have to worry about the test and the shot and all this other stuff. All right. And there's no reason, in my opinion, to not be there on a Saturday afternoon like that. It just looked a little weak to me. Still loud, though. Still loud. They still made noise, which is what you're always going to get. But, man, if we can pack that place for Pitt, regardless of what Pitt comes in as, just coming off of a loss here. But, you know, obviously they were ranked 17th. I don't know where they're going to land tomorrow, but...
Yeah, they got. So they threw an interception.
You're real upset about this. Go.
Yeah, I am.
Go.
Well, because it looked like they got a safety after they threw that interception, and it should have been a 2-point game getting the ball back. But either way, yeah, we definitely have to try our best to get as much people in the dome. You know, I think that unfortunately this is kind of like unintended consequences of COVID and the quarantines and you know, now there's not a lot of people that want to leave their house for as many reasons. I think that other people have found that more things in life are more important than entertainment and stuff like this. And then on top of that, throwing in the inconvenience if you're not vaccinated to have to get a negative test and everything like that. I ran into that situation when I went up there and I have spoke on it. So these are just going to be unintended consequences. You're going to see it happen in basketball as well. I think that the students, they've been quarantined. It's a little bit different when you're younger, and most of them, I think they all had to get vaccinated to go back to school. So, I believe so. They don't have to worry about that anyway. So it's a situation where I can see why it might be easier for them. But during this whole thing, I think that, you know, as far as like, that's definitely one of the unintended consequences that's going to happen from this. Is I just think that overall, you're just going to see that in all sports and in all arenas and facets and things like that. I just think that there's going to be more people that just are okay with hearing about it later or watching it from home versus, you know, either going and taking a chance or just, like I said, maybe they just don't want to spend the money with inflation and other things going on. I mean,
well, the tickets, by the way, I mean, I saw tickets for $10 a day of the game. So, I mean, I don't know what a dome dog is, but James, by the way, on Twitter, at James Zuba on Twitter, this dude got a dome dog that was like, you could hear. I should pull it up so we could listen to it. He took his bun and hit it against the cardboard box, man. It sounded like a brick. But, you know, I don't know what you're paying for a rock hard dome dog. But, yeah, I mean, to your point, but you're saving money on tickets aren't expensive for these events. They have got these things down to $10 this game. There was a deal. There was a deal at the last home game. So Clemson game. And, maybe it's because it's indoors, Joe, but I look around. I was in Blacksburg last week. Didn't seem to be a problem packing those stands, and didn't seem like anybody was really that worried about it either. But it could be because it's indoors, and, I'm not going to speak to what everybody's feeling, but I think that there are some unintended consequences to that, and maybe it's because it's closed up. But
well, I think also it has to do with the rules. I mean, did you have to get a?
Yeah, for Clemson you did.
What?
What? Oh, in Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
Oh no, nothing.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. So I think it's just a situation where you just don't. I mean, like I said, that's a walk.
Well, maybe they need to revisit their rules, and if someone doesn't feel comfortable going,
take them a
because
little while to figure it out, I guess. Right?
I think it's figured out. I mean, I think you're right. I mean, obviously, it's not doing great. We've spent a year outside of the dome. No one's been able to go, and then this year comes, and it's okay, but it's not what I expected. It's a brand new dome. Tickets are cheap.
Like I said, we've always been, the community has always been a community of walk-ups, a community of figuring out the day or the 2 days prior, you know what I mean, whether or not I'm going to go to the game.
Right.
And if somebody doesn't want, like I said, I mean, I couldn't go because of my situation. You can't just figure out what it is. And I think that they're really going to see it in basketball, and they're going to have to figure it out one way or another, because I know they're losing money when it comes down to that, not having seats in the dome. Zach's
in the green room. He says, don't have time to chime in. Give Tucker the 44. That is all. Okay. The push for the 44s, we won't hear the end of that until it's done. But I don't see it happening this year.
What happens if he doesn't want it?
Well, then I guess fans will turn on him and eat him for breakfast. That's how it works. No, obviously not. But he could make something out of the 34. The way other players have with other numbers.
What if it's his favorite number?
Yeah. Well. See, we don't know, because he did say that if he was offered it, he would take it. Right. So, Joe Morris was 47. I mean, we've had a lot of guys that were awesome that didn't wear the 44, and if he gets it offered it next year, so okay, I guess he's got an NIL deal with Manny's on the Hill, and they're selling shirts. I got one for me. I got one for my wife. Tucker 34 shirt. So I'm like, yo, I want the 34 shirt straight out, because if they change it, I'll get that one too. But I want the 34 too, because the 34, this is a memorable year. All the records that are being broken, 7 straight games with 100-plus rushing yards, 207 yards, moving him into 9th place ahead of Larry Zonka for the single game. He's going to break the season yardage record, and I mean, he did all that he's going to do all that with the 34 game, and right. And I want that shirt, whether or not he changes it or not. I don't care if he gets the 44, fantastic. If he doesn't get the 44, fantastic. Like I said, it's Bo Jackson. That's Derek Carr. My Bo Jackson one's in there. But I have a Bo Jackson jersey hung up, 34. Maybe I'll get me a Tucker jersey, signed 34 jersey, and hang it next to my Bo Jackson one. That'd be cool, right?
You could.
So anyway, are we still doing this? Are we still podcasting right now? At Cuse Stews, attendance stunk at the Cuse game today. Apparently he was there. At Turf on Fire. Bad first half, but feels good to win, and going into the bye week riding high. We should already be bowl eligible, but I believe we can get to 6. Yes. I believe that we squandered a couple opportunities, 1 or 2 at least, to have 6 wins at this point. But here we are with 5 wins, and we've got some games that I think Syracuse may be able to surprise someone in these games coming up. And we're going to talk about that in 1 second, Joe. I'm going to get your thoughts. At Demidome 9, as a fan, it feels good to believe that there is a chance to win every week. Absolutely. And that's how I feel, too. Even that stretch, Joe, where we were losing games by 3 points. I mean, in any of those games, every one of those games, we had a shot to win at the end. We just didn't, or to tie rather too.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, this is night and day from last year, and I think we should all be excited. We should stop calling for the coach's head. This is a huge turnaround. They've plugged in some different players. Our wide receivers are very green. When we're trying to deal with what we've got. We had a quarterback controversy in the middle of the year that stifled any kind of acceleration from Garrett Schrader from the get-go, or Tommy DeVito if it was going to be him too. So
bunch of people went in the transfer portal, which was kind of a clear, we
lost the backup running backs. So we lost our backup running back.
It was clear that we were going to be going in a different direction, and he, Gino had to make a decision, and he made a tough one, especially based upon, there's obviously, history and personal feelings with certain people. When you bring all that into it, it's difficult. But he made the change, and we beat Liberty, and pretty much ever since when, we gave Wake Forest the game and took them into overtime and had a chance to beat them, ever since then, I've had the feeling that we could compete with anybody in the ACC, because I think Wake Forest right now is the best team in the ACC. So, they still got some tough games ahead, and I know we do too. But we've competed with everybody, especially since we've committed to Schrader, and we've only gotten better. We know what we can do, and now we got to go out there and make people beat us.
Yeah, and that's just it. And it's limiting these mistakes, these little things that we talk about every week. This week it was the false starts. It just you're not gonna win the 50-50 stuff with the refs. We already know that.
Yeah,
so
that just kills me though. Because it's one of those things where Bergeron hasn't been making those mistakes.
Yeah, and he got
all
two
year.
of them. He only got two of them.
He had like two or three. One. I mean, it's a situation where then when you listen to the coach and he's talking about what the defense line might be doing, I feel like that's just kind of a happening.
That should be.
I mean?
Yeah, that should be called. That should be. They should.
Well, it should be called, but it kind of explains. Even though it wasn't called, I can be okay going to the next game and knowing we won. That hey, Bergeron doesn't have this problem. He probably jumped because of this, but they didn't call it, so he'll be okay.
Right. So that goes to when you see Bergeron jump twice, at least twice in the game. Someone who doesn't usually do that. Now you kind of know why. And it makes sense.
Yeah. It's not like one of those things like, oh man, what's he doing? He sucks. It's like,
right. No, absolutely not.
What's he doing? That he doesn't do that.
Right.
And then when you put two and two together, you're like, it makes sense.
Right.
Now, did they still count? Yeah. Did it still suck? Yeah.
Right.
But we didn't get the call, but I know that it's not going to be a reoccurring issue for the rest of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got a text from my brother-in-law and him saying, these false starts on Dino Babers, he needs to be fired, man. This is ridiculous. I'm like, come on, bro, come on. I got to deal with negative Cuse fans every day on Twitter, man. Can you not text me this crap? It's just so hard for me to deal with it. I mean, what do you do?
And how many times is that right after the play? Is that like an emotional reaction, like boom?
Oh, it's emotional. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I always look at it like, okay, and then what happened? Did we get a first down and then go down and score a touchdown? You know what I mean? Like, because I look at it like, I mean, I kind of count those things, like just what you talk about with turnovers and stuff. Oh, well, if you turn the ball over, but we get the ball back and score after they score, like. I look at it like if you get a false start or you get a holding penalty or something like that, but we overcome that and still get a first down or get points on the board, then I don't care about that penalty anymore, right? I mean, it's still going to count in the box score,
sure.
But no harm, no foul. So
yeah, I'm with you. On that.
something like that. That's just ridiculous.
Sorry
you have to deal with that.
I figured you would have to at some level with some of your friends too. No,
not really.
Oh, okay. All right, so I put some polls out on Twitter, and the first one was Syracuse will win at least one of their last three to make a bowl game. Buy, sell, hold, and I don't know what buy, sell, hold is, okay, because there are those people. In fact, 3%. out of 196 votes said, I don't know what buy, sell, or hold is. 2%. More people don't know what buy, sell, or hold is than want to sell this thing. So 2% sold. 8% held. 87% of Syracuse fans bought this. Syracuse wins one of their last 3 to become bowl eligible. And so then I'm like, I saw the way this was trending. I'm like, all right, Syracuse will beat blank to make themselves bowl eligible. Got 149 votes on this. They go Louisville, NC State, Pitt, or they go 0-3. 7% people said that they go 0-3. 13% picked them to beat Pitt on senior night. 17% picked them to beat NC State. And 63% picked them to beat Louisville after this bye. Now, if it's me and I'm voting, I'm picking Louisville too. Can they go 3 in a row? Can they bounce? Can they get healthy and bounce back and show up after a week off and beat Louisville at Louisville? So I feel like that's the best shot. Louisville had struggled against NC State last night. I don't know what kind of shape Malik Cunningham's going to be in by the time Syracuse gets there, because he had a rough one last night. And they're going to be playing straight through. So in fact,
Clemson.
Yeah, they got Clemson, right? Yeah. So, what do you think, Joe? First of all, back to the original question real quick. You think, I know what you think. You think they're going to win one of these last 3 to become bowl eligible, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, who do you think it's going to be?
If I had to put money on it, I'd say Louisville.
Okay.
I think just being as healthy as you probably are going to be, other than you're probably coming into the year, and then obviously with the momentum and the confidence that the team is going to have coming in. I know it's at Louisville, but they are a team where they lose one guy, and Cunningham goes and they play against Clemson and he gets hurt. I know he's going to be banged up, but I think that just kind of bodes well for Syracuse, because if we lose that one, I mean, obviously we're still going to be in every game. I don't think he's going to lose the team, and now that we have 5 wins, even if it does come down to Pittsburgh the last game, we're still going to go. But it's only going to get harder. I mean, NC State kind of handled Louisville last night, in a very physical game, and also NC State, we just don't play great at NC State. I think since I moved down here, I think we've only won there once. So walking into that damn stadium, I'm not too confident about whether or not we're going to walk out victorious or not, just based upon history here. So, and then obviously Pittsburgh, I mean, they are talking Kenny Pickett, Heisman, possibly number 1 pick. I saw somebody out, Mel Kiper, talking about him might being the number 1 pick. And I know that they're up and down and they just lost to Miami, but that's a dangerous team, especially offensively. So definitely Louisville, the best chance, without a doubt.
Yeah, I would agree. And do they? Okay, so we'll talk about that later.
I would buy.
No. Buy. Yeah.
Right.
Buy, and you pick Louisville.
Even though I'm probably along the same lines as that, I believe that we should probably be bowl eligible already.
Well, yeah, but we can't, we're not. Right? So that's
I get that.
So I put another question out. And this one I'll go over it, but I want to get more of these, and I'm going to throw it on Facebook too. So the Hokies have Enter Sandman, and it's amazing. You see it on TV; it's amazing. And so I posed the question: what Orange football intro song would bring the energy before a game? And at Eddie_Carp buddy, he started to pick up his game, but he first said Bohemian Rhapsody. No, absolutely not. No. No, please, Lord, no. So
there's nothing wrong with that song.
That's not a bring the energy song.
Right.
No,
right.
God,
well,
no.
In spurts, but
Scaramouche. No. At Sean Jacob Bean. Thunderstruck, AC/DC. That's a good one. At Orange Fan 524, welcome to the Terror Dome. I'll have to reacquaint myself with that one. Let the Bodies Hit the Floor by Matt Sherman. And then there's some Eminem ones. Lose Yourself, I Know. I'll have to listen to it. Till I Collapse, I have never heard that one. Hell's Bells by AC/DC at Orange Skin. And a couple more here. Let's see. At CNWire 1985, The Ecstasy of Gold. That's a Metallica. He can't do Metallica, unfortunately. Trust me. There's a bunch of them. Seek and Destroy would be a great one. But you can't do Metallica at all because that is locked up. So anyways, get over to Twitter. I'll pose the question on Facebook too, but get over to Twitter if you're on Twitter and give me your thoughts. I want to get a couple of them and put them in a poll and see what we can come up with. I think that would be fun.
Danger Zone.
No. Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone? No. That reminds me of being... It reminds me of being 10 years old watching Top Gun. Absolutely not. Those memories are precious.
Those kids on that team don't know that.
Well, maybe not, but you... No. We're not doing Danger Zone. My God. You're right up there with Bohemian Rhapsody from Eddie.
Danger Zone.
Cole loves the Danger Zone, by the way. He loves that song. Plays it on Alexa all the time. That and Africa by Toto. So go there, go to the socials, give us your thoughts on all of that. I'm really glad we could be here to do this early and get it done for everybody. Everybody who was in the green room at different times, looks like Seth, Zach, Dominic was in there. We appreciate all of you guys for hanging out with us in there. And that's going to pretty much do it for us, Joe. So be on the lookout. We got maybe we'll have old Jim Zuba. We'll have Jim Zuba on. We'll talk some basketball during this off week. Be on the lookout for that. And I want to say thanks to everybody for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out of here.